Certainly, there are many conditions conducive to attachment development in young children, but there are 3 irreducible needs that must be met by adults in charge to be able to help children attach deeply. There's the need for true play, which is playing freely. The need for true rest, we're talking about psychological rest. And the need for true tears, which is the ability to feel sadness and disappointment when we're up against something that we cannot change. True play is very different than what we might expect when we talk about children at play. True play is the ability to move or operate freely in a bounded space, which means that it's a spontaneous activity. It's an activity that comes from the child, that's initiated by the child, that is not work-related. So there is no outcome-based or results expected out of this play. It's also a play that is not for real. It's a play where children are really playing from their imagination. It's where creativity comes from. And it's a play that is usually very expressive and exploratory. And what we mean by that is that children in true play feel like they can express emotions, they can express their thoughts, their ideas, and where they can explore their environments as well. So true play can be very different from what we think of when we think about children at play. Children, especially young children, need to be able to play truly for many reasons. A true play is where children can grow into their potential. When children are playing truly, they can find and express their true selves. This is where they developed a sense of self. This is where they figure out who they are. This is where they learn what they like, what they dislike. This is where they learn to be and to become who they want to be. This is where children have the opportunity to program the brain's ability to problem solve. So when we're playing truly, we're developing those skills that will be needed later on to problem solve when the brain is ready to do that. This is also where children get to preserve psychological health and well-being. And we can all remember from our own childhoods when we were playing truly how good that felt, how healing that could be, how we could find a sense of wellness, of well-being within that play. And true play also allows children to find their creative edges and possibly their future occupations. And I remember when I was younger, being the eldest of 2 sisters, I used to play with my sister all the time, and I was the boss and she was my subordinate. And we had lots of fun playing these games, and now I'm a manager, and there might be a link there. But all this to say that in true play, this is where we find what our edge is, what we want to potentially do as a future occupation. And true play is where we develop this sense of agency and responsibility. And we can see this in young children in their symbolic play, when they're playing how to take care of a baby, when they're playing how to build a tower with blocks, when they're playing how to make food. They're all practicing real life, but in a play context. And this is where they develop a sense of responsibility. Well, true play is a bit of a luxury. And so the adults in charge must provide the conditions conducive to true play. There has to be enough freedom from screens and from stimulation. We must not think that screen time, computer games, video games are actually playing. When children are playing video games or when they're doing screen time, the brain actually gets overwhelmed by stimulus. And when the brain is overwhelmed with information, it cannot play from a creative, from an exploratory, from an imaginary point of view. And so we are not in true play mode when we're doing screen time. So we have to try and limit that and make sure that there's plenty of opportunities also to do unstructured activities. Typically structured activities, again, we might think of that as play for children, but if it's outcome-based, if they need to perform, if they need to do well, let's say, if I think of my daughter when she was taking gymnastics, it wasn't about true play anymore. It was about how well do I need to do to please my gymnastics teacher or in comparison with the other children in the group. So it's okay to have some of that, but we also have to have time where it's unstructured play to allow true play to emerge. And we have to have enough freedom from instruction and schooling. That doesn't mean that young children shouldn't receive any schooling or education, but inside of that context, we need to make sure we have enough room for true play as well. And we need to have enough freedom from consequences of the work motifs. So again, play should never be outcome-based and it should never be based on results.